Introduction. Students, today we will study a new topic. Before proceeding further, tell me something about carbohydrates. Sir, it gives energy to our body. Good, Ravi. Carbohydrates are the major source of energy for our body in everyday life. Fruits, vegetables, milk, etc. are the major sources of carbohydrates. Sir, and what we get from the sunlight? Good question, Raman. We get vitamin D from the sunlight. It encourages the absorption and metabolism of calcium and phosphorus in our body. Sir, what happened if our body cannot get the vitamin D? Due to deficiency of vitamin D, many serious diseases can occur, like rickets, obesity, heart disease, or high blood pressure. Students, today we will study about all these topics in our chapter Biomolecules. Objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define biomolecules, explain carbohydrates, classify carbohydrates, describe proteins, classify amino acids, know about structure of proteins, define enzyme, know about vitamins, classify vitamins and their deficiency diseases, and describe structure of nucleic acid. Definition. The branch of science that deals with the study of the chemical composition and the structure of living organisms and also various chemical changes taking place within them is called biochemistry. The complex organic molecules which form the basis of life, which build up living organisms and are also required for their growth and maintenance are called biomolecules. Biomolecules are related to the living organisms in the sequence living organism, organs, tissues, cells, organelles, and biomolecules. The cell. The cell is the fundamental unit of life. It is too small to be seen with naked eyes. It can be seen with the help of a microscope. Cells are packets of chemicals essential for life. The cell has the ability to grow and divide to produce cells. These daughter cells can further divide to produce new progeny of cells. Cells may be combined to form tissues. Tissues may be grouped into organs, and organs may be combined into organisms. A living cell contains about 50 elements. The most abundant substance in a living cell is water, which amounts to about 70% of the weight. In addition to water, the cell contains a large number of carbon compounds. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates constitute an important class of compounds like glucose, fructose, sucrose, starch, cellulose, etc., which play a vital role in our everyday life. Carbohydrates are defined as polyhydroxyaldehydes or polyhydroxyketones, or the compounds which can be hydrolyzed to them. They are also known as saccharides. These are the ultimate source of most of our food. They are derived mainly from plants. The name carbohydrate was given to the compounds pertaining to general formula CxH2OY. Classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are classified into three major categories, depending upon their behavior towards hydrolysis: monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides. These are simple carbohydrates which cannot be hydrolyzed to still simpler carbohydrates. For example, glucose and fructose. Oligosaccharides. These are the carbohydrates which on hydrolysis give 2 to 9 units of monosaccharides. They have subcategories depending upon the actual number of monosaccharide units formed by the hydrolysis of a particular oligosaccharide. Disaccharides give 2 units of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. For example, maltose and sucrose. Trisaccharides give 3 units of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. For example, raffinose. Tetrasaccharides give 4 units of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. For example, stachyose. Polysaccharides. These are the carbohydrates which are polymeric molecules and can be hydrolyzed to give large number of monosaccharide units. For example, starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Monosaccharides. Monosaccharides containing aldehyde group are called aldoses, while those containing ketonic group are called ketoses. They can be further classified into different categories depending upon the number of carbon atoms. Monosaccharides with 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon atoms are called trioses, tetroses, pentoses, hexoses and heptoses respectively. 3 main aldohexoses which occur widely in nature are D-glucose, D-galactose and D-mannose. The letter D before the name of monosaccharides represents the configuration as derived from glyceraldehyde. Glyceraldehyde is represented by 2 enantiomeric configurations. Glucose C6H12O6. Glucose occurs in nature in free state as well as in combined state. In free state, it occurs in sweet fruits and honey. Ripe grapes contain up to 20% glucose. In combined state, glucose is present in disaccharides and polysaccharides. Maltose and starch on hydrolysis yield only glucose. The methods of preparation of glucose are following. By hydrolysis of cane sugar. It can be prepared by hydrolysis of cane sugar in the presence of alcohol using dilute hydrochloric acid. Glucose and fructose are formed in equal amounts. Glucose is less soluble in ethyl alcohol than fructose, so it crystallizes out. By hydrolysis of starch. On commercial scale, it is prepared by hydrolysis of starch by boiling it with dilute sulfuric acid at 393 Kelvin under a pressure of 2 to 3 bar. Chemical reactions of glucose. The open chain structure of glucose contains 1 aldehydic, 1 primary alcoholic group and 4 secondary alcoholic groups. In Fischer projection, carbon atoms which are at the intersection of the lines are not shown. With hydrogen cyanide, glucose forms an addition product called glucose cyanohydrin. Glucose reacts with hydroxylamine to form corresponding oxime like aldehydes. Glucose reacts with phenylhydrazine to form phenylhydrazone. It reacts with acetic anhydride to form pentaacetate, which confirms that glucose molecule contains 5 hydroxy groups. With mild oxidizing agent, glucose is oxidized to gluconic acid. With strong oxidizing agent, glucose is oxidized to glucaric acid. On reduction with sodium amalgam, glucose is reduced to sorbitol, a hexahydric alcohol. When glucose treated with a dilute solution of an alkali, it undergoes reversible isomerization to form an equilibrium mixture of D-glucose, D-mannose and D-fructose. It reduces Tollens reagent, Felling's solution and Benedict's solution. Cyclic structure of glucose. Some evidence suggests that the open chain structure of D-glucose exists primarily in equilibrium with two cyclic forms. Many reactions indicate the absence of CHO group. It is found to exist in two different crystalline forms, which are named as alpha and beta. The alpha form of glucose is obtained by crystallization from a concentrated solution of glucose at 303 Kelvin, while the beta form is obtained by crystallization from hot and saturated aqueous solution at 373 Kelvin. It exhibits mutarotation. The change in specific rotation of an optically active compound to an equilibrium value is known as mutarotation. These observations are attributed to the fact that sugars generally exist in the form of cyclic hemiacetal or hemiketal structures, and only a very small number of molecules exist in open chain structure. Horwath structures. As a result of cyclization, the anomeric carbon becomes asymmetric and the newly formed OH group may be either on the left or on the right in fissure projection. This results in the formation of two isomers. The isomers having the hydroxyl group to the right of C1 is designated as alpha D-glucose. The isomers having the hydroxyl group to the left of C1 is designated as beta D-glucose. The lower thickened edge of the ring in Horwath structure is nearest to the observer. The groups to the right in fissure projection are written below the plane of the ring in the Horwath structure. The groups to the left in fissure projection are written above the plane of the ring in the Horwath structure. Fructose. Fructose is a simple monosaccharide found in many plants. It is one of the three dietary monosaccharides, along with glucose and galactose, that are absorbed directly into the bloodstream during digestion. It is found along with glucose in the juices of ripe fruits and in honey. It is also called levulose because naturally occurring fructose is levorotatory. In combined state, it occurs in sucrose and polysaccharide called inulin. On commercial scale, it is prepared by hydrolysis of inulin with dilute H2SO4. Properties of fructose. The important properties of fructose are following. It also exists in two cyclic forms which are formed by reaction of OH and C5 to ketonic group at C2. The ring thus formed is a 5-membered ring and it has furanose structure. It also shows mutarotation. It is colorless, crystalline solid and having a sweet taste. It is more soluble in water and alcohol than glucose. It also reduces Felling's solution, Benedict's solution and Tollens reagent. Disaccharides. Those carbohydrates which yield 2 units of monosaccharide on hydrolysis, are called